Hello everyone, and welcome to yet another Arknights Endfield video. Today's video is a start, or I shouldn't say start, but the day after the start of the newest patch, the 1.4 patch. There's a lot to say when it comes to the current update for Arknights. I know some people are going to either praise, glaze, or refreshing. But to me, there's some sort of questionable stuff. The continued existence of timers, which I've talked about many times and not a big fan of. And while I do have a dossier, aside from the freebie headhunting summons, I don't really care about the two characters of this patch. Sort of. Okay, so in terms of, actual, knowing Arcane, I don't really care. She's better than Chuang, but that's all I can really say, personally. I'm kind of in the middle, character-wise. Gameplay-wise, she's interesting, and she has some unique properties to her, but I don't know, and I kinda don't think she's not going to be great at E2. Due to the fact that she is attribute-based, some people say gear-based, and to an extent, yeah, I think gear... I think attributes rise with levels, if I'm not mistaken, but also with gear. There's something I also have to talk about when it comes to certain stuff, certain clear, certain CC stuff. There's just popped in my head there. But when it comes to Arcane herself, she's interesting. I think she could be really interesting with no restrictions. But for someone like me at E2, I don't think I could really do anything with her, because of attribute specific and armor specific, and armors are not looking too good for E2. I feel like the fact that I kind of wish that they add in more unique corporal gear pieces. But that's, of course, the fact that I'm at E2 and I can't really use gold pieces. Which, of course, the whole, oh, here's some gold pieces don't really matter to me at all and are just pretty much a waste of space. Anyway. Let me go back to this because I saw something really fucking stupid on the official Endfield Discord. So if you haven't been on there, they have all sorts of stuff. They have certain sections for the rewards section of participate in this event here, potentially to earn a reward, and they did that for CC0. Taking a screenshot of your clear and talking about it. I think they kind of mentioned as advice, or just talking about the clear in general, which not everyone did. A lot of people just posted the screenshot and that was it. But yeah, anyway, so at the very tail end for global, it's not the end for global at that point, don't tell that individual, but the last individual that I don't remember the name of, but he was very arrogant. He just kind of came out of nowhere, was putting his big fat dick on the table, was hey, I'm the best player here. I'm paraphrasing here, but he essentially was ha, 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 I did this with no equipment at this high risk. I'm the best player in multiple gacha games and mobile games. There was so much wrong. He touted it as a no equipment clear, which he had equipment on. Not some of his characters had at least one pair of equipment on. Even if it's at tier 1 or 2, or is it just 3 as the lowest? I'm not even certain, but still, he got risk 31. His characters are max level 90 with decked out weapons. And some of he did have some gold gear for some of his equipment also, and touting it as a no equipment run. It's just like, there's so much wrong to this arrogant asshole that it's like, where do you even fucking begin? I wanted to say something, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna create drama over someone's stupidity. And if someone gets featured, I'm gonna have to bitch slap some people. Anyway, if I had to use the gear to touting as a gear-less, equipment-less run, yeah, I don't know what to really say on the thought process on that. But the fact that he also was touting as, like, the best player out there, or, like, one of the better players out there, and it's like, bro, do you not, like, check what people have been doing? Niche runs of all sorts. You could do an equipment-less run. Just actually make sure it actually is an equipment-less run. First of all. And make sure that if you're touting your big shit, actually make sure it's big shit, not a small turd. Because of course, if you don't know, I did E2 at risk 35. I could have gone higher. I decided not to because I didn't want to suffer any longer than I have been trying to do it at E2. And this guy got 31 with level 90 characters at 31. It's just like, to me, you probably could have gone higher. 90, you have increased stats. On top of, you're still using equipment to an extent. And you still have maxed out weapon. Even if you didn't have equipment, level 90 is still a big change compared to, because you also have to have the consideration Operator's skill area as well. So you also, ability matrix, specifically ability matrix, because you have the talent nodes, you have the combat skills, on top of the talents. Just these several facts alone, you already have an edge over E2. It's just what it is. I would say a bigger edge still than with a E2 set of teams with a weapon in purple gear. Because I don't know, I'd actually have to have someone try it out and see for themselves. But I feel like you probably could do without gear, making sure you have the proper weapon, and if you had maxed out combos, like combat skills, you're probably going to still do way more damage, especially at level 90 if you do have increased stats with attributes still. It's like, bro, like, you can't really lower level or lower elite your characters, and you're trying to look good at the game by looking like you're doing with weak characters, and it's like, you're doing it all wrong, bro. You're doing it all wrong. My suggestion, if anyone wants to try this, best choice is starting a new account. On a side, if you want to have another account that is with maxed out teams, that's my suggestion. But anyway, I wanted to mention that I know there's other clears out there, like someone got 51 with 5 stars only. Perlica, Wolfguard, Arknights, and Snowshine. Surprisingly, at 51, which was cool to see. But again, this was like maxed out gear, maxed out weapon, E4, level 90, completely different ballgame. Okay, that team can still do better than what I can do at E2 with 6 stars. It's just, that's how much of a difference being at E3 or E4 is, on top of the gold gear in its own right. And then of course the increased stats, the stronger combat skills. It's something I don't bring up much about skills, but it wouldn't surprise me if skills also mattered greatly as well. It's just like, you're going to have an edge even with 5 stars or even with a 4-star team. A 4-star team will be better than what I can do at this current moment in time. in terms of damage, in terms of survivability. It's just the way it is. So it is nice, and it's cool to see that someone got 51 really high risk without really using much 6 stars or any of the 6-star metas. But doesn't surprise me that they also did better than me, just because E2 is suffering. Anyway, I know, blabbering about, talking about other clears that I've seen, I kind of briefly looked at stuff, not a lot. They had, like, a lot of cool, like, login screen shenanigans going on here. They went really fucking ham with the login, which is, like, kind of disappointing, because it's, like, out of fucking nowhere. It's like, okay, cool, I guess. Anyway, so, today, it's probably going to be multiple videos as I've kind of been doing, but the main session, kind of going from here on out, checking out the Connect and Win, which we'll see how it's compared to Arknights. I know this is still open if you want to exchange for rewards, but that's nothing to worry about. I will be checking out the combat drill for Arcane. I will be using the freebie headhunting sessions. And then, last but not least, checking out Echoes of War. Trying it out, checking it out, we'll see type of thing. But yeah, that's not much else to say. Let's just get straight into it. Scratch 1, connect and win. Oh no, it's invalid! Anyway. Oh, do I have to actually manually press scratch? Or just click? Alright. Okay. I actually should have looked into it more of what the key details are. Looks like I'm gonna be getting 80. If I'm understanding things correctly. Oh, all of it. Okay, so it's 800. Okay. 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 Well, we'll see if I manage to do it, because I didn't log in yesterday night. Okay. We'll try out this character here. So, the weird thing about this character is that she's essentially, you go either intelligence or will. Or willpower, I guess. But it's more just int and will. But anyway. And depending upon the structure, will determine how she kind of functions. So yeah, so the int is the damage, and will is the support. It's kind of the general gist. I know someone was trying to talk about, like, what would be best to go for her as a team. And my thought process, there's a lot, honestly. I mean, you could always go, like, a mixed physical team if you really wanted to, for some reason. It's always an option because of Rossi. I mean, again, Rossi is, like, on par with Gerbertza, because you could just have her with a physical team, and then whatever character that you recently release that is Art's reaction in some way. You could go with, I think it's, I can't remember, the Earth element and Cryo. I think it's Nature. Nature and Cryo. I think that's kind of like the the buddy waddy combo wombo, and then of course fire and electric is the same deal, but for those two. I don't really like that. I wish it wasn't so buddy-buddy, because this is something I learned during CC, is that a lot of players don't realize you can combine different reactions. It just comes down to understanding that the last one you inflict will essentially give you the infliction. So do 2 fires, then ice, you get solidification, or I guess in some instances if they introduce it, it could be like solidification 2 in the future. It's kind of like how with Wolfguard, if you do like Tangs 2 times in a row, you get his combustion, but at level 2, which does more damage over time. You can mix characters in arts inflictions, and if you know what you're doing, you can inflict a specific one. It doesn't necessarily need to be cryo nature and then electric and fire. You could have cryo working with fire, or you can have electric working with nature, like putting nature down and then do a cryo infliction. You'd be surprised how many people don't realize that. So it's like me trying to teach a certain individual. They probably know who they're talking about. That didn't know that is something you can do during CC. Yeah. Yeah. You'd be surprised of what people don't know. Anyway. I wish that they didn't favor combining certain arts reactions together. It should be more freely. It shouldn't be specifically 2. But anyway, I don't know which one they're gonna go with here. I don't know if it's gonna be will, or I don't know if it's gonna be intellect. I feel like they're probably gonna go with... Because, yeah, the battle skill that grips them together, then the battle skill of the other one is... Okay, no, they're kind of similar, okay. I know, I thought there was, like, something different, but... I think attack animation-wise is pretty interesting. I think it looks pretty good. They definitely do certain aspects of fan service in certain ways. For example, with her beginning ultimate, they show her side and her ass. And, like, if you actually pay attention. And then, of course, the whole fact of what they're going for. So it's like there's very obvious certain interactions with the fact of how short her, I want to say shorts are? Or, I have no idea what we'd even call... Anyway, we get the point. So, are we in will or int? I guess we'll see type of thing, I guess.
Area formation in place. Strike and suppress. Step down. Inferno of light.
I want to say probably will.
Deploy formation.
No.
Your end is not.
Oh, I forgot that they have you switch.
Your end here. On it.
The nice thing about her... She'll move out of the way.
Inferno burn. 2 cinders. Area formation in place. Meet your end here. On it. Break their ranks.
Oh, it gets the nasty damage off. And I thought I could have done hers and then that, whatever. I think this is the will aspect.
None shall live.
transformation in place.
But I say that. Am I
I shall
wrong?
live up to your trust.
I want to say she's will, because I was noticing that I was getting a lot of nature inflictions being applied. So I think it's that, but I could be wrong. I wasn't paying too much attention if I was applying arts intensity or whatever it is. Because I thought, like, with Int, you do more damage, of course, but you have a lot less support aspects to her kit. So I want to say she's will, but I could be wrong. I didn't actually get the chance to actually see her animations, because that's kind of the annoyance. It's like, oh, sorta, use ultimate. Oh, you want to use said character? No? Not really. I can understand why they would, but at the same time, I feel like she should be able to be good enough doing it by herself and attacking herself. But then again, I would be surprised if they did that because they knew the AI is complete dog shit. Sorry. You can actually see the animations here. I thought that there was a unique animation. Oh, there we go. There we go. That's the one I was thinking. She is not very much down there. I'll say that. And that's intentional. That's definitely intentional. Okay. She does have a double dash. Makes sense. Makes a little sense, okay. So, even though I think she's an interesting character, I guess I already said E2, I don't think I could really work well with her two different skill types. Is that what they say? But to me, it's also the fact that I was gonna plan on skipping these anyway, especially the second other character that I'm not a big fan of. So yeah. The other character, I can't even fucking remember her name. I'm just not a big fan. I feel like design is hit and miss. There's some parts that I like, but there's some parts are like too much. And then combat-wise, I think is a little uncreative. They could have had it so that she's more of a defender, but instead they kind of made her like completely a healer that also just happens to be attack buffer. And I already clocked in really quickly that it's a character created for shit players. And I'm not the only one that instantly clocked that in. And it just so happens that I don't think she's necessary. I mean, it comes down to, of course, her attack buff, whatever how good it is. But aside from that, like, you have defenders. I mean, maybe the only use case for her would just be trying as a main healer to out-tank damage. For whatever reason, there's only like one map in the game that I can think of right now that she'd be useful in. Aside from that, like, I don't really need her. There hasn't been a need for her. And the last CC also fucked you over for trying to bring killers anyway. So it kind of defeated the purpose of having her in the, you know, as a character if they're going to reintroduce similar risks where it's like, oh, you're healing? Fuck you! Unless they do the opposite, but I don't think they will do that. So to me, with how they're designing certain things, I don't think she's gonna be that great healing side, especially when it's still like healing's not as necessary at this point, and you could just use either Snowshine or Amber to heal yourself. But she is consistent enough that like that's the only other thing is if you need that because it's healing because you're guaranteed to take damage, then that's a different scenario altogether. And I feel like in very specific scenarios, I could maybe see that being helpful. Thinking about it more, there might be some scenarios where like maybe you can't dodge and you actually allowed to heal, then maybe. But to me, I'm looking at that attack buff, and that's kind of the main thing I'm looking at. And then the fact that that's kind of like her main gimmick is healing and attack buff, to me, I don't think she's really worth it to go for. Maybe on the side from a different banner, sure, but I'm not gonna be going crazy to try to get her. In Arcane, I would go for her if it wasn't for the fact that because of the whole like difference in Int versus Will, it's too gimmicky to work with E2. You have a lot more options with Gold Gear that I just feel like trying to do E2 with this character is just going to be stupid. It's not going to work out that well. You're limited by stats anyway, and the fact that it comes down to defensive stats of like this one's bigger than this happens. It's just like, I don't even know if it's going to be possible to switch between the two. If there's too much of a difference in Will versus Int, that maybe with certain equipment that's not an issue. But for E2 or below, you get fucked over because you can only do one, because there's no way in how you can get a high enough of the other stats to use that stat. I don't know if that's the case, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing. Because, you are very limited to what you can do with purple gear. So, yeah, that's why I'm not gonna go too crazy about getting her either. And again, like I said, way before the live stream happened, I was not planning to go for any of these characters, and that's kind of my general thoughts. I think Arcane is way better than her, than the other character, and I think they could be good in their own way, ways. But for where I'm at right now, and my already plans, I'm going to be skipping them for other characters in the future. Okay, so just instantaneously gonna force me to get it. Okay. Well, here is the... I'm curious here. What does this do? Oh! Okay, so yeah. Okay, if you control secondary main stat, that still kind of gets the point across. Well, you have a lot of options to go with Gold Gear. Because I haven't really done essences. So these two are just... Okay, second attribute's higher versus the main attribute might be higher than the other one, right? Am I understanding things, or that's the same? I think it's the same. This one, the main attribute's higher. This one, secondary is main. Yeah. So it's the machete versus the flashlight is the either or of the team, and you're just gonna probably choose one that goes for one specific. So the gloves. This glove's at main attribute. This glove's secondary attribute, etc., etc. Makes sense. There's probably gonna be better gear. But honestly, with this character, no points. Fun fact, I'm gonna showcase this right now. You might be thinking, oh, I have gold gear. I've actually had gold gear because of Catcher. Because Catcher is the only one that is E4.
I shall
Fun
give you
fact.
my best.
That's why, yeah, just looking at Camille. Camille's E2.
I believe
He's the
we should be
E4.
better
He's
prepared.
the leftmost character. Your strongest character in terms of level and elite is going to be the most further left. So yeah, Catcher's the only one that is. But going back to, let's say her. You cannot equip this until you learn Outfitting 3. So, yeah. Now, would it be awesome if you can still allow you in the future to, sure, that would completely break the point of E2, but if they start allowing E2 characters or characters earlier on to start wearing gold gear, yeah, I probably will focus on with gold gear and without gold gear runs if that ends up happening. But at this point in time, nah, I don't expect that to happen. So, kind of defeats the purpose of this system, and I mean, I probably end up going down that route if that ends up happening. Yeah, so yeah. By myself on my least favorite character they showed off. Like, I didn't really, I was just like, what the fuck are they trying to do here at first? And then it's like, this character's kind of stupid in multiple ways. So yeah, that's why I'm not going too crazy for the other character. If anything, it'd be Arcane, but probably not. But Headhunting. You might be saying, but yeah, I'm not gonna go for them. I'm not gonna try to guarantee getting a 6-star. But I have freebie polls, so why the fuck not? I would be wasting the dossier. I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna do the freebie Headhunting, up to at least 20 polls, and then peace. See you later. Probably won't care because I feel like she's too gimmicky. With how she is for E2 to really actually use her. Which is probably at first you heard of that this character is too gimmicky to use. But that's because of E2, so it is what it is. So if I end up getting her, well, don't know what I could really say or do. It'd just be honestly testing out what I could actually do for a character at E2 at that point, more so than actually using her. And I don't expect to get a 6-star unless it just randomly happens now. No. The fact that they also haven't released any 4-stars or 5-stars is disappointing. So everything here is pretty much practically worthless. Aside from getting more summons in the future and more weapons to summon for. I am going to be using Ore Barrel here, and then I'll probably, off-screen, be using single summon tickets. Just for simplicity's sake, it will actually be like 3 extra, which would give me like, at that point be like 49. And next banner, I will be using the 10 freebies, but I'll be doing at once. I'll be saving and waiting the 3 days, unlike this. Completely not doing nothing. Two 5-stars. I mean, it's good for headhunting for weapons. But aside from that, peace. See you probably never, Arcane. And I'm completely fine with that. Truth be told, because again, I don't see E2 really working well with the gimmicky use of attributes. And I'm hoping that they don't go hard on that, because then at that point it'd be very annoying, and it'd be like, it might end up making E2 teams / runs for future characters almost impossible to happen because they're so gimmicky. I just kind of hope that they don't continue it. It'd be nice to see them explore it more, but for me, no, please no. Anyway, I actually want to see here if I have any. Okay, I did. I was wondering. I was thinking to the back of my head. I was like, I think I have these, basic Headhunting. So I do. We're gonna be doing this. I'm not expecting anything. If anything, it would be nice to at least get many 6-stars from this, so that any pots would just make it easier to get weapons, which would be good regardless for E2s as well, because that just means more damage.
Enter.
And maybe some of the characters will start doing damage on par of normal weapons for normal characters. Anyway,